This is going to be my Clash in Paris thoughts video. We've already done two on here before, so you know the sort of thing. This isn't going to be a fully in-depth review of the show. It's just going to be me going through each match, giving my thoughts on them. So let's not waste any time and jump in. Starting with our opening contest for the night was Bronson Reed versus Roman Reigns, which was out of all the matches on the card, probably the best choice to get this hot French crowd. To keep in mind, they were amazing all night. Great crowd, fantastic. Kept up at their hype for most of the night. Having these two go out, because obviously Roman is as popular as always, especially since he's dropped the titles. So yeah, the match itself, fine. So your typical babyface versus heel match. Roman got cheered early on and got some offense in before Bronson obviously came off, and it worked over him, building to Roman's comeback and everything. Yeah, the crowd made the match much more invested, made it more invested, because even though, like I said, it's just your typical babyface versus heel match, them feeding off the energy of them in the ring, very fun time watching, very good match, but it's more of what happened after the match. So Roman won, of course, beating Bronson and that, and after the match was over, after starting to celebrate around ringside, he went back in the ring with where Heyman was, and has finally gotten revenge on Heyman for turning heel on him at WrestleMania, by choking out Heyman and writing him off the show, which I'll get to in a minute. In doing so, then got his shoes back, started signing them and throwing them into the crowd, which the crowd loved, only for Bronson Reed, its tag team partner, Bron Breakker, to spear Roman off through another announce table off of the initial one he was on, which looked really brutal, but most importantly looked like Breakker injured himself with the landing on his arm onto the announce table, laying out Reigns. And then we would get the beatdown of Roman, writing him off TV so he can go and film Street Fighter. Got over the Reeds, the two Brons, really well, with another spear from Breakker, and then 3 tsunamis by Reed, 2 of them being onto Roman on a backboard, completely writing him off, like I said, so Roman can go and film Street Fighter. And then, as well as during the beatdown, Jey Uso, who's in the main event, came down trying to save Reigns, but got laid out, setting up he's going to be going into the Fatal 4-Way match already injured. Got laid waste with a spear as well. This was very good. It took up like almost an hour of the first hour of the show, and I'm looking at it as just overall, not just the match itself, but the angle afterwards. Very fun opener, great time, and it serviced multiple things. It got over Reed in defeat. Even though he lost, he still came out looking really good. Sets up Jey as potentially being the one taking the pin, because he tried helping Roman but then got laid out. Reigns is now off TV, so that's him out. And because of the assault by the two bronze, them and Heyman were removed from the building altogether. So Seth now, with no Heyman and no bronze going into the main event, he's now at a disadvantage against his three opponents, which clearly is telling us, there is going to be a new member of the Vision joining later tonight. But that being said, we'll get to that in a bit. Overall, I loved this opener. Very fun time. Very great crowd. Our second match of the night was the Street Profits versus the White Six of Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis for the WWE Tag Team Championships. This was a SmackDown match. It really should have been on SmackDown. That's nothing to say it was a bad match. It was just, it did feel a bit out of place, especially having to follow that hot opener. The crowd weren't completely dead, but they were very on the come down from the hot opener. But that being said, though, the four guys in the match were very much capable of getting the crowd back into it just enough in time for the finish of the match. But the match itself, very fun. Like I said, could have easily been on SmackDown, but just to fill out the rest of the card. The match came to an end when Montez Ford was on the outside, about to go and get the victory, only for both Nikki Cross and Bo Dallas's sister Abigail and Uncle Howdy to attack him behind the ref's back with his sister Abigail, leading to the Wyatts winning. The more interesting thing coming out of this match was the fact that at the beginning of the match, before the bell rang, or just after the bell rang, there was a bit of some miscommunication between the Profits of who was going to start, sowing the seeds for a potential tag team breakup. Now that's all well and good, fair enough. I mean, SmackDown's tag team division is very decent now, so you could technically break up a team and it wouldn't have a knock-on effect so much on the division itself. My problem with it, more or less, is the timing. Having the dissension or the miscommunication at the beginning of the match is fine if you're going to follow up on it and add it into the story. It had no effect on the story. It was never brought up again. This sort of thing would have served better being at the end of the match. Another thing that was a bit of a groaner was another tag team being roped into a sponsorship plant of the Profits' entrance being Borderlands 4, I believe it is. And obviously this being not long after WrestleMania, where the War Raiders came out as Clash of Clans. And it's just, for me, if you like it, you like it, but for me it's very tacky and I have no interest in Borderlands. I'm sorry if you are a Borderlands fan, but I've never played one, and it just has no need to be in my wrestling, personally, because it has no impact on the actual match itself. They just come out and that's it, so what was the bloody point in a way? But overall, yeah, it was an alright match. Following the Tag Team Championship match, we had the Women's Intercontinental Championship match of Becky Lynch versus Nikki Bella. Now, before I get too far into the match, I need to say that I've got so much praise for Becky for trying her best in this match to keep it on track. Can see that she tried her best. That being said, this was the worst match of the whole night by far. And when it comes to the end of the year, I think this might be just behind WrestleMania's main event of night 2 being Cena Cody, which is the worst match of the year. This is a close second for me because it was a car wreck. Like I said, Becky, it's not her fault. I squarely put the blame on Nikki Bella. Now, you may be a Nikki Bella fan out there, fair enough. More praise to you. I've never been a fan of her. I don't think she's a good wrestler. I don't think I don't see the fascination with her. And I do not hold the Bellas in higher regard as these pillars of the women's division, pioneers of the women's division, if you will, especially during the Divas era. There was so many other better women on the roster at that point than those two, and I cannot name you a single match that was actually really good they had. And this fell apart instantly after Nikki got in control of the match. Like I said, the first part of the match where Becky's in control and working over Nikki is fine. Second, Nikki has to work, it all falls apart, including a spot where she's on the second rope in the corner and clearly miscommunication because Becky's nowhere near the corner that Nikki's in, and Nikki just does like almost a twisted body cross or something. I don't know what she attempted, but she just jumped off the corner and no one's there and just fell. Thankfully, Becky's such a veteran and knows what to do. She covered and made it look like it was all part of like her plan, but that fell apart. And the French crowd themselves saw right through Nikki, and no one in that audience was cheering for the babyface Nikki. Everyone was cheering for Becky. And yeah, and I hate to say it, she's just nowhere as good as anyone else on the roster. And yeah, you may call it ring rust because she hasn't wrestled properly in years, but she wasn't this good when she was a full-time, so why would she be good now? And yeah, it was just, yeah, I can't say much else before I just repeat the same stuff over and over again. It's the worst match on the card. I really didn't like it. But luckily Becky retained with a quick roll-up, which the crowd loved. The second Becky won, everyone was cheering for Becky. So yeah, very bad match, I'm afraid. Luckily though, the next match really got the crowd back into it, and the show from here on out is incredible. Like I said, the opening match was really good, but from here on, all three matches, great. Beginning with Sheamus versus Rusev in an old-fashioned Donnybrook match. It's a plunder match with two guys that love to beat the hell out of each other. Obviously, this being a rubber match between them in their feud, and this was like the only blood feud payoff match. You could say that the same for like Reigns and Reed, but it's not been going on for the same amount of time with them on TV every week. Now, I'm a fan of both of these guys, and it's been a bit disappointing to see how the raw crowds they've had in the past few weeks and months during this feud have not been really getting into the feud that much, and not really giving it the reaction they deserved. So to have them come out and put on a barn burner of a weapons match, and the crowd ate it up. This crowd was hot for this match, and like I said, it's a weapons match, so a plunder match, so of course there's all the usual bits and bobs. So kendo sticks and tables and all that. And what made it even more invested for me was the fact that there was so many near falls where it felt like either guy could win, and that made it more unpredictable, because there was several times where it felt like, no, this is the end of the match, but then next thing you know, kick out, and then they go for another like few big moves. And that's another thing, it's big move after big move, but like to the point where it's not, you get fed up of it. It's like you're on the edge of your seat expecting it to finish, but only for them to up the ante, including Rusev hitting Sheamus with a Uranagi through the side of a bar, because obviously if you've ever seen any of these sort of plunder matches, they've always got props and that. So there was a bar and a couple of barrels at ringside. So the crowd popped huge for that, and Sheamus somehow kicked out, only for Rusev to then get hit with a white noise off the top of this stack of barrels through tables, only for him to then kick out. There was a very close near fall with Rusev going to use Sheamus's shillelagh into a bro kick, which very much was like could have been the end of the match, but it carried on, and then the end of the match was so brilliant and perfect. It might be my favourite end to any of the matches of the night, of them, not including the aftermath, just the end of the match. After breaking Sheamus's shillelagh over his own back, Rusev then got part of the broken shillelagh and used it in the accolade, to which what really caught me by surprise was Sheamus tapped out. Rusev won by submission, which isn't a surprise. It's the fact that Sheamus tapped out, not passed out like you would probably presume he would do. He tapped out, which is a very rare occurrence. And yeah, this whole match was just fun. The crowd loved it. Everything they did, they just reacted perfectly to. So yeah, very good match from Rusev. Hopefully can keep up the momentum he's got from this win. See, after that great plunder match came for me match of the night. Incredible match. But before I get into the match itself of John Cena versus Logan Paul, I've got two nitpicks. Number one being, if John Cena can pull out an incredible performance like this as a babyface in his retirement year, where, let's be honest, he can't really have a decent match to the extent of like what he was doing during his feud with AJ. But this was an incredible performance. Where was this like for most of his career, as like when he was on top, like 10-15 years ago? Why weren't we getting this level of John Cena for years? Why is it now, in his retirement year, when we've only got like 3 months left of him before he retires forever, do we get this good of a match? Two, why do we get this such a good match, and it's against Logan Paul? I'm one of those, yes, I have to admit he's an incredible athlete, but as a person and as everything else, I can't stand him. There's so much great talent on the roster that should be in this position instead of Logan. For me, why isn't Cena having a match like that? I get that it's a big money match on paper and it makes sense as a big match, but there should be like somebody else on the roster that can pull this level of a match out of Cena. But yeah, they're my two like main issues with the match. The match itself incredible, unbelievable. If you haven't seen it, you need to check it out. This is the best match Cena's had all year, which isn't hard to say, but besides his SummerSlam match, everything else has been moderate, I would say. Yeah, I can't describe how great it is. You need to watch it to get the feel. And again, this French crowd just helps amplify how great everything in the ring was with their reactions. And Cena really pulled everything out. He hit some really big moves, like, for example, a tornado DDT out the corner, an angel's wing, and a code red. On top of that, he hit a freaking Styles Clash. Granted, it wasn't nowhere as good as AJ's, but still, Cena hitting any of these moves in his retirement year. Why can't he have been doing this sort of stuff 10, 15 years ago? No one would have been complaining if he was this good in the ring 10, 15 years ago. Right. Maybe because he was getting pushed down everyone's throat, but that's the same thing with Roman. But yeah, very great match, fun time, and Cena picks up yet another victory on his retirement tour. And that, but yeah, please do go and check this match out. Very great match. Main event time for the World Heavyweight Championship in a fatal four-way. It's Seth Rollins defending against CM Punk versus LA Knight versus Jey Uso. This match was very fun. As a fun match, I would say the crowd themselves, obviously after the Cena match, they were a little bit quieter. Not completely dead for the match, but they were quiet. But when something big happened, excluding I should say, the entrances, they were quiet. But that's not to take away from the match itself. All four guys are very over the crowd. But yeah, the match itself started off following this usual formula of these like fatal four-way triple threat matches where you get two guys in the ring, the other two go out the ring, and then they interchange. So that started off, and the match started off in a hot way with CM Punk super kicking Jey out the match for a very shocking surprise. What a surprise. Jey, this isn't anything against him, and it's become a bit of a laughing stock now that Jey, even though when he is injured in a match, going into a match, he never really sells the injury, and this is another thing. LA Knight, even though he's nowhere as good, I say nowhere as good, I don't mean that, over, I should say, as he was 3 years ago when he faced Roman. Is it 3 or 2 years ago, whenever he faced Roman, that was the height of his popularity, and he just isn't at that level. He's still very over, and I think him being moved to Raw and put in the world title scene has done wonders for him, because I could not see him winning the WWE Championship, but the World Championship, very much so. Obviously, Punk and Seth, they're continuing their feud, forever feud, and there was lots to like in this match, including all three babyfaces teaming up against Seth, getting a table spot in, only for which looked like it was going to be the end for Seth, only for stupidly Jey to lay out both Punk and Knight before they put Rollins through the table, which just makes Jey as a character look really stupid and dumb. I've got no problem with him taking out his opponents and fellow babyfaces, but after you take out the heel, Also a bit of crowd brawling, which the crowd really got woke up for. And then afterwards, you could tell it was getting into the final stages with Punk getting taken out, going through the table they set up. When I say through, it was more he bounced off of it, didn't go completely through it, but he got taken out. Then LA Knight got taken out after he attempted an elbow drop through the announce table with Rollins moving. That was him out for the rest of the match. And then it came down to Jay and Seth, which the crowds were very much behind. The looked like Jay was getting the hang of it and potentially had it won, only for when he went for a spear attempt, Rollins turning that into a pedigree for a perfect visual of a reversal. And then as that got done, that was Jay out after Punk came in and hit him with a GTS. So it was down to these forever feuders. And Rollins seemed to have it won, but after getting a chair and missing the stomp, it was all Punk's for the win after hitting already hitting one GTS on Seth, going for a second one. It looked like he had it won, only for a person in a hoodie and a mask to come up behind and low blow Punk, to the crowd's surprise. I say surprise, reaction, huge surprise reaction of like what happened. To no one's surprise, the new member of the Vision is the Women's Intercontinental Champion and Seth's real life wife, Becky Lynch. Now this makes perfect sense to me. They're both heels. It's well known they're together and a married couple, and they're both champions. So why not just put them as a couple? They've done it before. It didn't really work back then, back in 2019, but it could work here. So why not? And with Becky's low blow, that allowed Seth to retain the World Championship in a very fun main event between four very over stars. In conclusion, Clash in Paris 2025 is a fantastic show, very good. I would very much recommend it. It had 3 solid, outstanding matches to close the show, with it being Sheamus and Rusev, John Cena vs Logan Paul, and the Fatal 4-Way. A extremely hot opener between Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed to really kickstart the crowd's excitement, and a great after the match. But then you had the tag match. Nothing. It's like I said, a TV match just to fill out some time. But the one dark cloud over the show is the Women's Intercontinental Championship, which I've already put my thoughts on. One of the worst matches of the year. But that, I feel, is nothing to do with Becky Lynch. It's all due to Nikki Bella's lack of in-ring work, I should say. But overall, very fun show. Definitely check it out if you can. So, thanks for watching and see you soon.